for application for a new premises license under the Licensing Act 2003. This is for location Islingworth Local, 80 Islingworth Road, Brighton BN2 9SL. Can I thank you very much for we're now live on the webcast. So can I now ask for nominations for the chair, please?
I would like to nominate Councillor Cattell, please.
Okay, any other nominations? Thank you. Okay, Councillor Cattell, it's over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, right, there we go. Procedural. I'll start with the procedural business. And excuse me, I've got really bad hay fever and I've got a very itchy nose, so do excuse me if I keep doing that. Okay, procedural business. Declaration of substitutes. I don't think we've got any substitutes today. I know it's just the three of us that originally that are on the agenda. Are there any declarations of lobbying or interest in any of the in the site? No, fantastic. No. Thank you very much. There we go. Now, there are no non-public items on this agenda, so we won't be looking to exclude press and public today. It's all in open session. Now, this is an application for sorry, just going to my agenda where I need to read out the bit at the front of the agenda. This is an application for an off licence at 80 Islingwood Road. It's a new licence. As the shop, the shop still hasn't been opened yet. So it is, but it's to sell it's for an off licence within the shop at 80 Islingwood Road. Okay, now before we start, I'd like everyone to introduce themselves, and hopefully everybody's okay with using first names. What could you please make sure that you turn your mic off when not speaking, but obviously do keep your camera on. So I'll start with me. I'm Councillor Julie Cattell, and I'm Deputy Chair of the Licensing Committee. I'll go to my two colleagues first, two councillor colleagues. Councillor Lyons.
Morning, everybody. I'm Councillor Ivan Lyons, Councillor for West Dean and Hove Park Ward.
Okay. John.
Hello, everyone. I'm Councillor John Hewitt, a councillor for Hangleton and Knoll Ward and a member of a licensing committee.
Okay. Rebecca.
Yes, good morning. Rebecca Siddell, legal advisor to the panel.
Okay. Sean.
Good morning. My name is Sean Hughes. I'm from Democratic Services. I'm the clerk for the meeting and will be taking the minutes, but taking no part in the decision-making process. Thank you.
Okie dokie. Donna.
Good morning. Donna Linsdale. I'm making a representation on behalf of the council's licensing and training standards team today.
Fantastic. Sarah.
Good morning. I'm the licensing officer for this application.
Okie dokie. Where have we got? We got Sarah. Other Sarah.
Good morning, Sarah Booker-Lewis, local democracy reporter for Brighton and Hove, representing the majority of news media in the city.
Thank you. Now over to our guests. I've got James Rankin. I can't see you. Are you on a? Would you like to put your camera on? Hi, James. There. Would you like to introduce yourself? Okay.
So my name is James Rankin, and I'm appearing on behalf of one of the representors.
Sorry, you mean one of the objectors?
One of the objectors.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. That's fine. Thank you very much indeed. Robert.
Good morning, Robert Sutherland. I'm acting for the applicant in this matter.
Okay, Edward.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Edward Sherry from Complete Licensing, and the role I have there is Director of Strategic Licensing in the Nighttime Economy. And we've been asked to assist the applicant in his application. Can I just ask one question, please, Chair? Is
Sure,
anyone else
sure.
getting background on the microphones or anything, or is it just me?
I'm not. Oh.
It may be that if it's okay with the
No.
chair, I might drop out and come back in on my telephone.
Sure. Can I just ask, are you and Robert in the same company, from the same company?
Robert's from the
For the
solicitor's
purpose-
company, and Robert has. Robert, over to you. You explain.
Yes, please.
Sorry,
yeah.
Chair. I've been brought in by the consultant, Atlas Licensing, I think, who introduced or brought the application. I was instructed to represent, obviously, at the hearing, and I have advised that the services of Complete Licensing would be of assistance to me in presenting the application to you. So
Okay,
we're different companies, but there are connections.
Okay, so will both of you be speaking? Obviously, you will be, but will Ed be speaking as well?
Ed will speak to the report that obviously was circulated yesterday. I would have thought for only a short period. Obviously, he will be there for any questions that members may have.
So I'll ask him to speak first, Ed, then you. Okay, right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Ed, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Ah, that's good. And then you're the applicant, yeah?
Yes, I am.
Sure. Okay. Rebecca.
No, just through you, Chair. Could I ask which representation Mr. Rankin is speaking to? Or...
Yes, it's the Queen's Park store representation, 231 Queen's Park Road.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we. Hannah. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Hannah. Yeah, I forgot you. Sorry about that.
You did forget. That's okay.
I'm sorry. Yes, Hannah.
No worries.
Go ahead. Oh.
I just wanted to say hello. I'm Hannah. I'm here on behalf of Sussex Police as a police licensing officer for the police rep.
Thank you. Last but not at all least. Thank you. Now, before we crack on, we received the report. This very long report only yesterday. I mean, I managed to read it, but I'm not sure if everybody has had a chance to read it. So I'm suggesting that we take a 15-minute break, just so that definitely Hannah and Donna and Sarah, have you had a chance to read it?
Part way through, yes, part of it.
Okay, so are you okay? Are you okay? Is everybody okay to take this 15-minute break? So come back at 10:25. Is that great? Okay, so yes. just don't leave the meeting, but just sort of turn your camera off and read away. Thanks.
Thank you.
the case for the licensing authority.
Thank you. So this hearing is for a new premises licence for Islingworth Local, 80 Islingworth Road, Brighton, for alcohol sales off the premises every day, 8 AM till 11 PM, with opening times of 7 AM until 11 PM. The application describes the premises as a convenience store off-licence shop. I will leave it to the applicant to explain the application in more detail. 5 representations were received. They were received from a local resident, local businesses, Sussex Police and Trading Standards and the Licensing Authority. The representations are attached at Appendix C in today's agenda from page 33. The police also submitted an additional letter which has been circulated to the panel and added as an addendum to the papers, and yesterday afternoon a bundle was submitted by the applicant's solicitor which has been sent to all the parties. This premises falls within our special stress area. On receipt of an application in the special stress area where relevant representations have been made, the licensing authority scrutinise the application carefully and will look at the measures proposed in the operating schedules and compare them to the measures set out in Appendix A, Licensing Best Practice Measures, which can be found from page 25 of the agenda. As the panel are aware, the adoption of the matrix approach to licensing decisions found in our Statement of Licensing Policy and this agenda includes a table with provisions for a term and an hour for all classes of licensed premises in a particular area, recognising the diverse operations and different risks presented by those premises. The matrix provides a framework of what the licensing authority would like to see within its area and gives an indication of the likelihood of success or otherwise to investors and businesses making applications. The matrix can be found on page 12 of the agenda today, and it indicates a no to applications for off sales in the special stress area. Each application will be considered on its own merits. However, the licensing authority will apply the matrix approach in all cases unless there are exceptional circumstances which justify a different approach. The licensing authority will determine exceptional circumstances on a case-by-case basis, and the panel members will now hear from all the parties present. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, first of all, I invite Hannah to make representations on behalf of the police. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Please bear with me as I've sort of made a few changes as we go through, but as you have heard, this is a proposed new application in an area of the city which is subject to a special policy adopted by the Brighton and Hove City Council. The premises lies in a special stress area as defined by the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy and seeks the following licensable activities for sale by retail of alcohol off the premises every day, 8 AM until 11 PM, with opening hours every day from 7 AM until 11 PM. Paragraph 3.3.2 of the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy states this special stress area is of concern to the licensing authority because of the relatively high levels of crime and disorder and nuisance experienced within it. The licensing decision matrix in the Council Statement of Licensing Policy suggests that new premises or premises licence variations asking for these licensable activities and hours are a no. The applicant did not pre-consult with Sussex Police, and we do not believe they offer any unique reasons why their application should be an exception to this policy or why the matrix should be departed from. They did not make mention to the special policy or the Statement of Licensing Policy within their application, and it is not felt that anything they had provided at the application stages fully addressed the local concerns or shows that they have paid special attention to their operating schedule. So paragraph 14.4 of the Secretary of State's guidance states that in publishing a CIA, a licensing authority is setting down a strong statement of intent about its approach to considering applications for the grant or variation of premises licenses or club premises certificates in the area described. Applications in areas covered by a CIA should therefore give consideration to potential cumulative impact issues when setting out the steps that will be taken to promote the licensing objectives. The applicant has offered some information under Section 18 of their application, but these are minimal workable conditions, and Sussex Police do not believe these go far enough to help mitigate any potential risk in the area of the city. While there is some mention of crime prevention measures such as CCTV and Challenge 25, these conditions offered fall short of the current citywide standard and do not encompass the full range of conditions we would expect. Sussex Police additionally contend that carrying on of an additional licensable activity and the hours applied for at these premises could add to the existing areas. So looking at incidents that Sussex Police have dealt with within a 0.2 mile radius of the venue between the 25th of March and the 2025 and the 25th of March 2026, amongst these there were 33 worth of violent crime, 24 thefts and 6 public order. Although we acknowledge that not all of these incidents are linked to alcohol, when looking at these crime types, alcohol is often a factor. We also have concerns that permitting out a further off licence so close to the level and Lewis Road and Queen's Park. So I have increased the area of the crime statistics. So looking at the crime statistics, 0.35 mile radius of the premises that includes Lewis Road and the level, this sees an increase in crime statistics to 232 violent crime, 232 thefts and 43 public order. And then looking at Queen's Park, there were 13 drug offences, 12 for violence against the person and 4 reports of vulnerability. I know these, and I'm aware these have been questioned in the report submitted by the applicant and his representatives. But what I just want to say is these are Sussex Police trusted statistics. They come off our crime recording systems. And we just asked the panel to bear in mind that actually as we widened our statistics to include the green spaces, these are busy, high impact areas. But also regarding off sales, there are a number of off licenses in the vicinity that already serve this area. The explanatory notes in the matrix of 3.4.3 of the statement of licensing policy state at subsection F that particular consideration will be given to the applications in areas which already have one or more off licenses in close proximity due to their concerns about street drinking, underage sales and antisocial behaviour. It has been stated in the report that there were a number of off licenses locally and on the on-sales premises close to the Islingworld premises already has off-sales too. So although there is no pre-assumption of refusal in this area, it is still for the applicant to make positive proposals, which includes the conditions that I'm aware they have offered. But we do not believe the applicant has gone far enough to evidence why their application should be an exception to the policy or why the matrix should be departed from. Therefore, Sussex Police invite the licensing authority to seriously consider refusing this application in light of police concerns, local issues and the special policy. However, should you be minded to grant this application, a further 2 was submitted by Sussex Police on Friday the 24th of April with the proposed conditions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Rebecca, your hand went up just as Rebecca started speaking.
I was just in case anyone had any questions for Sarah Cornell, but I expect they will make themselves make themselves known if they have.
Sorry, Rebecca, I was head down reading.
No, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I thought just leave it. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, colleagues, Ivan and John, do you have any questions for Hannah?
Maybe it might be better later on after the applicant spoke, but I was wondering if Hannah, if you've had the opportunity to see the proposed conditions sent on behalf of the applicant, are there any of those proposed conditions which you have concerns with?
Very good question. I sort of skim read earlier, so I'm happy to go away and actually sort of look through because I noticed there were conditions proposed that they were going to put their name and address onto every alcohol bottle. Yes, and I just wasn't sure how that was going to be achieved. And if youths do come along and pick up their alcohol, how is that sticker going to be substantial enough that they're not going to be picked off? or fall off if the alcohol gets wet. So there's a few bits like that.
I think maybe that might be better, Chair, if we look at that after the applicant's spoken, if that's best.
Yes, that can be questions that Hannah can put, certainly. Sorry, Ivan?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Hannah, you mentioned about the crime statistics in the area, and briefly mentioned the differences from the applicants. Now, obviously, the applicant can comment where they got their figures, but can you just give the panel a broader commentary as to the differences between the police statistics and the applicants, so everybody's sort of clear-ish, if possible?
So with regard to the applicants, I believe they've taken theirs from a public website. The police statistics that I have read to you today has come off a trusted statement, which is our crime recording system. So we have a system called Power BI that records and tracks all of the reports and calls that police attend to. And that's where I've taken my statistics from, is that it is all the logged calls that Sussex Police has been called to or have dealt with. And that might be where there's more, because obviously I have included the sort of open spaces within my statistics. So that's where I think they become relevant, because maybe the open spaces weren't included in the applicants. I can't visualize the maps now that were on the report, but where I've taken mine from is the Sussex Police crime recording system. Sorry, I hope that helps.
No, thanks. So just one follow-up question. So your statistics include the open spaces. You mentioned the applicant used a public website. Can you name the public website and the geographical area compared to the police's site?
Oh, I can't recall it off the top of my head. I remember reading it in a paragraph. That might be a question for the applicant to ask where they've taken theirs from, but I haven't looked at their website. I haven't had time to look at that website. I have literally just taken the stats that I've read you today off our crime recording system.
Okay, all right, thanks. No further questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
James, would you like to ask, have you got any questions for Hannah?
Just to be clear, Hannah, your position is that you want this application refused?
Yes, we do.
That's your primary position.
Yes.
And then the fallback position is the conditions, which quite rightly you flag up now. But
yes, sorry, James, to agree, we do absolutely, as our primary position, want this to be refused. We have just given some police worded conditions, should the panel be minded to grant this, just to sort of give some advice of what conditions we would like to see on the licence should they be minded to grant this, but we are very currently asking for it to be refused.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. Just to point out, James, that this is standard practice, that the police will always give, advise conditions should we be minded to grant something that they've objected to. Just to let you know that's the way we work here. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, so Robert or Edward, who wants to speak? Who's got any questions for Hannah?
It may be, Chair, if Ed has some questions in relation to the figures, that may assist. The document, I have some questions about the conditions, but Ed, if you wanted to go first in relation to conditions about the statistics, that may be helpful.
So, from my position, I don't doubt the statistics. If they've come from that police database, that is probably, in my experience, probably everything that's happened within that area. What Mr. Bunch used was the Elm Grove police area data from the police website, the National Police website, where we obtain publicly available crime figures for that particular police area, which is the Elm Grove police area where the premise is actually situated. But I don't question the figures or anything else that the police are currently stating. I don't suppose that helps, but that's our position at the moment. Sorry, Chair, you're muted again.
Yeah, I know. Would your client like to say anything at the moment, or are you going to speak for him?
I think I will speak for Ayad when it comes to our opportunity, Councillor.
Sorry, I meant to ask questions of Hannah.
There were a couple of questions that I just wanted to ask in relation to the conditions. It would appear, Hannah, it would appear that the conditions which you've proposed, which I have to say I hadn't seen until today myself, unfortunately, for some reason they weren't on when I was checking the agenda papers on Friday. They appear very similar to the set of conditions which indeed we've proposed at the back of the bundle. In fact, ours may in fact be slightly tighter than yours, I would say. For example, you talk about 6%, we talk about 5.5%, but you know, would you agree with me on that?
I did cast my eyes over, as I said, I've read very quickly today, so I can't recall every condition.
Understood.
But I can see that you have offered conditions that are similar. But just to sort of go back, they are there just as a bit of guidance for the council, should they be minded to agree this against our objection. They're not offered because we're sort of potentially changing our mind. We're still asking for the refusal.
Understood. I wasn't trying to give you a trick question. It was purely a matter of comparison. Okay. In relation to condition, I think it's condition 3 that you've talked about no advertising promotion deals on any alcoholic product that we can see from outside of the premises, posters in the window. It's intended, though I'm not sure it comes out from our conditions either, that the window and the door of the premises, that at least 75% of that window would be kept clear to enable the operator to be able to see what's going on outside. Is that something which is helpful?
Absolutely. I think it's really important that any off license that has clear windows so they can view outside goes a long way to preventing proxy sales. It goes a long way to preventing any form of alcohol being sold to somebody that's intoxicated, especially when someone's walked in, tried to purchase alcohol and is potentially been ID'd and then walks outside and tries to get an adult to buy it for them. So that is something that we would promote to all premises with off sales, absolutely.
And just finally, in respect of the application, obviously the application is for 11 o'clock to go through to 11 o'clock at night. If that, or if the committee felt that 10 o'clock was more appropriate, is there significant difference between those two times, between 10 and 11 o'clock at night time?
That's a very good question. Obviously, I still sit with the concerns that the increase of the availability of alcohol is something that we don't wish to promote. So I don't personally think that would help our representation at this minute.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Chair.
I've done it again. Donna, is there anything you'd like to ask Hannah before you do your presentation?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, so over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. We make this representation on behalf of the Council's Licensing and Trading Standards team in their capacity as a responsible authority in relation to an application for a new premises licence for Islingwood Local, 80 Islingwood Road, Brighton. The applicant has applied for the sale of alcohol for off sales every day from 8 AM till 2300 hours. A copy of this representation can be seen on pages 36 and 37. This representation is made as licensing and trading standards team have concerns that the application could have a negative impact on the license objectives of the prevention of crime and disorder and the prevention of public nuisance. I also refer to the special policy contained within the council's statement of licensing policy. This premises is situated within the licensing special stress area. As stated in the council's statement of licensing policy, the special stress area is deemed an area of special concern in terms of levels of crime and disorder and public nuisance experienced within it. Our policy states that new and variation applications within the special stress area will be subject to the presumption of refusal, but operators will be expected to pay special attention when drawing up their operating schedules and to make positive proposals to ensure that their operation will not add to the problems faced in this area. Guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licence Act states that in completing the operating schedule, applicants are expected to have regard to the statement of licence policy for their area. The guidance goes on to state that applicants are expected to include positive proposals in their application on how they will manage any potential risks, where specific policies apply in the area, for example, special stress and matrix approach to decision-making policies. Applicants are also expected to demonstrate an understanding of how the policy impacts on their application, any measures that will take to mitigate the impact, and why they consider their application should be exception to the policy. Looking at the application form, particularly Section 18, license objectives, the applicant has not addressed the premises location within the special stress area. They also have not demonstrated exceptional circumstances to depart from our policy or how they would not add to the existing negative cumulative impact in the area already saturated with licensed premises and experiencing high levels of crime and disorder. The council statement of licensing policy includes a matrix approach for licence decisions, with provisions for terminal hours for all classes of licensed premises in a particular area. The matrix model recognises the diverse operation and different risks presented by different classes of licensed premises. The statement of licence policy provides a vision of what the licensing authority would like to see within its area and gives an indication of the likelihood of success or otherwise to investors and local businesses making applications. Each application is still considered on its individual merit, and there is discretion to depart from the matrix approach policy in exceptional circumstances. The decision-making matrix of the council statement licence policy clearly shows that off licences in the special stress area are not supported. Granting this application may add to the additional burdens and problems in the special stress area. The licence team act as guardians of the council statement licence policy, and I make this representation on behalf of the licensing authority as I believe the application made is contrary to our policy, and then therefore invite the panel to carefully scrutinise the application and decide if it constitutes exceptional circumstances apart from the policy. So sorry, I've also added a bit more now because I've commenting on the supporting evidence that was provided yesterday. Just wanted to comment on one of the comments that was made within it, which is on page 27 of the supporting evidence, where the applicant has stated that regarding his premises in West Street, where he has an off licence till 5 AM, that the licensing authority or the police have had no negative or issues regarding the premises. I just want to clarify that I have carried out visits at the premises and have provided them with breaches of the licence conditions for that premises. So that statement just is incorrect, because there has been issues with their premises in West Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Can I just ask what the breaches that you found at that premises in the city centre?
So the premises in West Street only has 3 conditions, and one of them refers to that condition 2. These are conditions that were attached following a licensing authorities hearing. A minimum of 2 SIA registered door supervisors should operate from 2200 until close on Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays. However, when I visited the premises, albeit this was November 2024, at the time of my visit, which was at 23:10 on a Friday night, at the time of my visit, they only had 1 SIA registered door supervisor who was sitting in his car parked up on double yellow lines up the road, not on the premises, in accordance with the condition, and a staff member had to leave the shop to go and get him.
Thank you. And is that just one incident, or you said there were several? Or
I mean, we've obviously done visits, and there's been, but that was the latest visit, which I did do with joint visit with police licensing, and we both provided the premises with a breach of condition.
Thank you. Ivan, you had your hand up to ask Donna something.
No, I was going to ask the same question, Chair. So no further questions from me. Thank you.
John?
Not for me, thank you.
Okay. Right. James, have you any questions of?
I don't, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Robert or Edward, one or other of you.
Thank you, Chair. In respect of the last issue that you were just referring to, the breach of the license in relation to the security, are you able to assist the committee as to how often the premises is visited, and whether there are any other records, or is this the only one that there is in relation to the breach of the license?
So sorry, I obviously, because the document was submitted quite late, I hadn't actually referred to the applicant's other premises within my representation when I submitted it, because I was basing my representation based on the application, which, however, obviously, as it was put into the documents you've submitted, obviously made me have cause to just raise that, just for clarification. Without searching my system, I can't go, unfortunately, but I'm sure that although licensing authority may not have done numerous visits, and I know we have in the past done some visits, also to speak to the premises about stopping strong beers and lagers because of the location, which they had agreed to do. I'm sure the police probably have had, due to the location being in West Street, which is right in the city centre, and having a very late licence, they may have visited on more occasions.
Was any explanation given at the time in relation to the door supervisor situation?
I think that my understanding that the applicant wasn't aware that condition was on the licence, but did afterwards confirm that he had since rectified it and was complying.
Was it Ayad that you spoke with, or was it somebody who was working at the shop?
So Ayad was the person I wrote to, and when he replied, he stated that he wasn't aware, but he's now can confirm that he's complying.
Thank you. No further questions, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Edward, is there anything you'd like to say?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Hannah, is there anything you'd like to ask or discuss with Donna at this point?
No questions of Donna, thank you, Chair, but just to support what she has said, police licensing were part of that visit and a breach was issued from us as well on that date. That's all from me.
Thank you. Actually, I've got one further question, Donna. Sorry to put you on the spot. How do you choose where to go? I mean, I've been out a couple of times with the, when we've been out with Operation Marble, but how do you decide where to go? I mean, was there a report from this one, or was it a spot check? And
so we do carry out sort of routine license inspections, and it's not uncommon for us to do later night inspections where a premises license has quite late hours and obviously do have conditions on. My understanding is that we had received reports that they were not complying with the conditions or the condition of the security, and that's why I believe that a visit was carried out on a Friday night where the security should have been in place to check.
Just out of interest, was it from a member of the public, or maybe someone else sort of tipped you off, as it were?
It were, I believe, well, they stated they were a member of the public, and they did send numerous complaints, but I'm not sure whether, I can't clarify whether it was a member of the public or another business.
Don't worry, just interested. Thank you very much, Donna. And nobody, just last thing, no more questions for Donna, yeah? Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Right, I'm now going to move on to ask James to give his representations on behalf of the person who's raised the objection.
Thank you. That last point raised by Donna is a serious one for Mr. Sutherland. My sympathies go out to him. Very often it's a technique adopted by applicants, is that they come before a committee and say, well, these premises that we've run in such and such a location are marvellous. We have a completely clear trading profile. We've had plenty of visits and there have been no issues. And that's...
Sorry, can I just stop you there? I'm actually asking you to put forward the representations of your client rather than discussing what's just been said. It's I just think it's only fair that you just do your client, you represent just what your client wants you to say.
Well, this is what my client wants me to say, because the importance of complying with conditions is absolutely paramount for any operator of licensed premises. And if you have an applicant that's coming before you that is proposing hundreds of conditions, not hundreds, but certainly over 10 conditions, and he only had 3 conditions on the other license, and he breached one of those fundamentally, that's a matter of concern. So these then are my submissions on behalf of Queen's Park Store. And it would be easy for Mr. Sutherland to dismiss my representation and say, well, look, Mr. Rankin is just appearing for a trade objector. We have as much right to be here and to make representations as other responsible authorities. And I'll explain why. Because we have a vested interest in making sure that applicants are proper applicants, that they have a proper track record, and that they maintain the high standards that we currently maintain in the area. And when trade is spread thin, that is when standards begin to drop. And when standards begin to drop, that has a knock-on effect for all of the other responsible authorities. Now, it's important to recognise how the origins of your special stress area came to be. Started in March 2008. It's been reviewed every 5 years, and every 5 years you look at the statistics and you decide whether you're going to maintain that special stress area. Now, what's happened for the 2026 to 2031 consultation is that there is a proposal to amend the cumulative impact zone, but the special stress area remains in place, and it remains in place upon an evidential basis provided by the police and other responsible authorities relating in particular to matters of crime and disorder. Now, the matrix approach is an approach which has worked really well, and we invite you to follow, as the DCMS guidance invites you to do, to follow your policy and look at it in this way, that the matrix approach encourages diversity. Mr. Sutherland cannot for a moment suggest that there is no diversity of outlets within this area. His own evidence points to some 8 convenience stores and off licenses within the immediate vicinity, one as close as 43 feet away. Now, in those circumstances, it's incumbent upon him to prove to you that there is an exception somehow to this policy, which informs you that it should be a no. What the policy says is that this application is likely to be refused, unless there is something that they're able to put before you to show that there is in some way an exception to the policy. And they can't do that, in my respectful submission. And the policy is really important because it informs us, it tells us how you're going to behave. It tells an applicant how you're going to behave and how his application is going to be treated. And in relation to the responsible authorities, they look to you to support that policy. Donna puts it really well in her submission, in her representation. She speaks about the licensing team and trading standards being guardians of your policy. And that is the same so far as the police are concerned. They're on the front line. They deal with the fallout from what happens if policy is not observed. And they, you will recall, are your primary source of intelligence on matters of crime and disorder. And if you've got Hannah saying, I want you to refuse this application, then that's something that you should be listening to. And if Donna is also supporting that, then that too lends grist to the mill. Now, there is some dispute. In my submission, there's no dispute on the question of figures. Mr. Sherry rightly does some backpedaling in relation to an acceptance that the police figures are the correct figures. It's artificial to do what they've done and disingenuous to do what they've done. And that is to say, oh, well, look at Hanover Street and look at Hanover Terrace and look at Wellington Road and look at how few incidents of violence and disorder are there in relation to those roads. Don't do that, because that's an artificial barrier. You can't suggest that because something has happened adjacent to Hanover Road that it's of no relevance. Of course it's of relevance when you've got the police saying there are 232 incidents of violence and 43 of public disorder within 0.35 of a mile of these premises. That is the evidence that you have to take careful note of. Now, when I was reading this last night, there were 2 matters that stood out to me. The first was on page 27. If I can just find that. Yes, this business about the applicant has a good track record of running this type of business. No, they don't. There is then a suggestion by Mr. Bunch that in his professional and expert opinion, remember this is a paid consultant, in his professional and expert opinion, the granting of this license was unlikely to bring about street drinking, antisocial behaviour, crimes of violence. In the professional opinion of Hannah, who is on the front line as opposed to some outside consultant, that is not so. And just because Mr. Sherry has visited the premises on one day and seen no street drinkers doesn't mean that there are no street drinkers. It just means that on one occasion when he visited, he didn't see any at a particular time of day. And what is said by the applicant, and it's at page 39, I note with interest the representations made by the police and the local authority, both centre around the special stress area, SSA, in which this premises is located. These representations are policy-based with no evidence to suggest that these premises will have any adverse effect on the immediate area or the emergency services. That misses the point. Your policy is based on evidence. It comes into life in 2008 and continues to be reborn every 5 years based upon evidence. It's impossible for Mr. Bunch to make that bold assertion that there is no evidence to support. The evidence is there to support it. The police, when it was consulted upon, this policy, on those numerous occasions when the special stress area policy has been repeated, has always made representations on the grounds of crime and disorder, and has always put evidence before the licensing subcommittee before they adopted it. So that is my submission. This is an application, I'm afraid, which is no different to anything else which already currently exists. The response from the committee should be a no. It should be that this is likely to be refused. It should be that Mr. Sutherland, I'm afraid, has failed to clear the bar to this application and has fallen in his application. So that's all I was going to say.
Thank you. So I'll now invite questions from the panel, colleagues, Ivan and John. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you, Chair, of Mr. Rankin.
No, I don't have any questions either. Thank you.
Could you just remind me, please, of the your client? What, because a lot of the stuff we've got is redacted. What does he represent? A business in Queen's Road?
Yes, Queen's Park store.
Queen's Park store.
Yeah, at 231 Queen's Park Road.
Queen's Park. Okay. So and is he resident in the area?
I'm unsure. Let me just ask. So it's so difficult because he's not actually on the meeting, so I've got to.
Oh, don't worry too much. Do you know what conditions he has on his license to sell alcohol?
I'm afraid I don't have that, but Rebecca would have that, and your licensing officer would have that.
Yeah.
So
I
the answer
I
is
can have a look if you like me to, Chair.
Yes, please, Sarah. It'll be interesting to see, and how and when the license was granted, and whether there were any objections at the time to that license as well, and whether it was a panel or a straightforward approval.
Yes, I'll pop it in the chat. That's probably the easiest thing to do.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you very much indeed. Okay. Right. So, Donna, have you any questions for James?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okie dokie. Robert, would you like to ask? Do you have questions?
Thank you, Chair. I've got no questions for Mr. Rankin. Doesn't mean to say I agree with what he's saying. I just don't have any questions.
No, I understand. Well, you have your chance in a second. Edward, do you have any questions for Mr. Rankin?
It's not a question as such. I would just like to pick up on the term, the wrong statistics with regard to the crime. I had different statistics. I'm not saying that ours were wrong. What I'm saying is the ones that we had that were publicly available of what we can use is what we had. It's just that I'm not disputing what the police said. I'm not saying that I was wrong. I'm just not disputing what the police have said regarding theirs.
All right, I'll amend that to selective statistics. I've got information now. The license was granted more than 10 years ago.
Okay, so
Road.
It would have had less stringent conditions on it.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for that. And does your client live in? Is he resident there?
He is not resident, no.
Okay. Okay. Right. So he is speaking as a business owner.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Rebecca.
Well, no, just through you, there are two representations, aren't there, for the same business? Are they related?
Yes, of course, yeah.
They're business partners.
Okay.
Okay, and so we would, I suppose, in a way, we're looking at two representations from the same business.
Exactly.
Okay. Hannah, you've come back on screen. Is there anything you wanted to say, or?
No, I was just going to say I had no questions.
Okay. Right. And Donna's got no questions either. So now I'm going to move on to. Oh, actually, do you have any questions of Mr. Rankin?
No question. Actually, just I would like to add
Fantastic.
something there.
Fine. Now, okay, I'll move on to either Robert or Edward, who was ever going to present, or if both of you are.
Thank you, Chair. I will speak first, and I'll hand over to Ed to take you through his report, and then probably I will finish off. Thank you for the opportunity to address you. Thank you to the committee for taking into account the information which was submitted yesterday. My apologies for that. I was instructed very late in the day, and it appeared appropriate, and that we submitted some evidence so that you could consider the application more fully. And we also felt it was appropriate that conditions were put forward. I hadn't seen the police conditions, unfortunately, until this morning. Had I done so, I would have sought to build on their set of conditions rather than providing you with an additional set of conditions. But I will take you through the conditions, hopefully to assist. The onus is on me, Mr. Moas, to deal with your policy, to satisfy the committee that obviously this is an application which you can grant, that there is an exception to the matrix which exists. Your policy is very clear that exceptional circumstances can be determined by the committee as we go along. The breach which has been raised does not help, but it's not a nail in the coffin of the application. It merely, I think, creates a correct picture of how premises operate and are managed and within your area. There are many things that the applicant has done, which I will come on to. I have a brief explanation as to what happened on that night. It doesn't negate the fact that there was a breach, but it does explain the circumstances. And obviously, Mr. Moas would assure the committee that apart from that one occasion, there have been no issues at the premises that he's operated since taking on the business, the pop-in shop in 2015. But let me deal with the application, set out what it's about, and then I'll hand over to Mr. Sherry to deal with the conditions. So the intention here is that it would be a convenience store. You will have seen from Mr. Moas's statements that he has been involved in convenience stores for a number of years. That led him to taking on his first business with a business partner in 2015, the one in West Street. That's a off-license which operates the convenience store, which operates 22 hours of the day, from 7 in the morning to 5 the following morning. It operates with security from 10 o'clock in the evening until 5 o'clock on a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You will have seen that he's offered voluntarily to not sell high-strength alcohol at the shop. He's operating it in collaboration with the local authority and the police, and is part of the crime prevention partnership in that area, and is a member of that, and obviously would continue to be a member should this committee grant this particular license. The application hours are set out, but as you may have picked up from my question to the police, that the hours, if you're minded and feel that it is appropriate to grant the application, but you're concerned about the hours, then the hours can be reduced until 10 o'clock generally, and 10:30 at the weekends. But that is a matter, obviously, if the committee are with me in relation to granting the application. In respect of conditions, it's unfortunate that in the application, the full set of circumstances, the full conditions which were proposed by myself and very similar to the police conditions, that they were not part of the original application. Mr. Moas was advised and took advice from licensing consultant. It's unfortunate that there was not more detail put in relation to the conditions. It's also unfortunate there was not as much engagement, not any engagement that I would have preferred in relation to communicating with the authorities to see whether indeed a lot of agreement could have been reached. I appreciate that opportunity wasn't taken, but it is something which I'm looking to try and achieve today through the hearing, and it is my submission that the committee may find that with the conditions that are proposed, with the experience and the character of the applicant, that you can grant the application, that you won't offend the promotion of the licensing objectives, and that with the conditions which are proposed, that would mitigate any negative effect in relation to the grant of the license. So that the basis of the application that we have to put in front of you. I'm going to hand over, if I may, to Mr. Sherry just to take you through the research that has been carried out and the figures that have been used and why they've reached the conclusion that they have, and then I'll look to take you through the proposed conditions, if I may.
Thank you, Robert. So just to recap, we've been asked to assist in just assessing the area in which the premise is situated and the actual application itself, and what our professional opinion is in how much effect that will have on the local area. Now, as we all know, we spoke about lots, this is a residential area within the special safety area. And we, as the three consultants who've been involved in this, understand the issues that residents and business face within these type of areas and why we get to the point where we are today. From what we have seen and reported back, I see, my experience from what I know and what I've been told is the applicant wants to run a small convenience store for local people with the addition of selling alcohol at the same time. As he said, he's made some mistakes with that one mistake that's been identified in his previous business, but he's been running these businesses since 2008, I believe, and he's come to the notice of police and authorities once, that we've heard of today. The people he is after, his clientele, I would describe as your bag of pasta and a bottle of wine type people. From what he has told us and what we have seen, he has absolutely no intention of dealing with street drinkers or those that are involved in antisocial behaviour. I don't dispute the police figures. There are other figures, and we all know what statistics do. But it was what we tried to do within our report was tie down to issues within that exact location where we were, not into the bigger locations around antisocial behaviour, etc. And if we look at the local policing priorities for the ward, it doesn't actually mention antisocial behaviour in the location we're dealing with. They're more interested in drug dealing and young people on scooters, etc. So just a bit of, in my experience regarding street drinkers, those that live their lives on the street and those that are involved in consistent antisocial behaviour when it comes to premises like the one that we're dealing with today. It is my experience that these type of people look for weak leadership in these premises, and they exploit that and they ingratiate themselves within the premises, similar to how other grooming is done. Once they've ingratiated themselves in the premises, they become part of the fabric of the local area because they're in and out of there all the time. As a result, they get comfortable street drinking in those areas. That's where they go. From what I've seen, we've seen from the crime statistics and everything else going on, by speaking to the owner, he's no intention of getting involved in this. In all of the recommendations that I've made in my highlight conditions and the full conditions, is to try to provide reassurance to yourselves that he has no intention of working with these people. They are not the clientele that he is looking for. He is looking for, as I say, bag of pasta, bottle of wine, those type of people, as opposed to the people who are in the area and are causing problem to everybody else. The recommendations I've set out, I think it's on page 12 of my report. That deals with, again, just highlights the type of approach he wants to take and the things he wants to do to make this as give you as much reassurance as possible. And then further down the report in the appendix, there's a whole proper list of a full list of those conditions, all to try to reassure yourself that he is not after street drinker business. That's not his business model. He wants to be part of the community and provide a service to that local community. So I'll stop there, and I don't know if Robert wants to say anything from that point.
Thanks, Ed. Yes, so just pulling those parts together, what I was looking to do at this stage is just to go through the sets of conditions, if I may. So the police, the conditions are set out at the end of the pack from the report from Complete Licensing, and there are 20 conditions which are proposed, and I'm just going to go through those, if I may, whilst also looking at the police conditions. Can I apologise that you're getting the side of my head? The camera is very close to me, and I'm looking at various different sources, which does mean that I appear not to be ignoring you, and I wouldn't want that, so please accept my apologies. So looking at the police conditions, obviously the first condition which is proposed is accepted. I believe they have that right under the Licensing Act in any way, but if there should be any doubt, condition 1 is accepted. In relation to the prevention of crime disorder, condition 2, there's reference to no displays of alcohol in the public area of the shop which are accessible to the public. So all alcohol in the public area of the shop will be beyond arm's reach, behind a perspex or equivalent screen. Now, as you'll have seen from the layout, it's not intended that that be the case. There will be a proportion of alcohol that will be seen. Spirits, it's certainly intended, will be behind the counter. As Mr. Sherry has described it, it very much is a convenience store. It sells other things which include alcohol. We would ask that it not be totally separated away, but if that is what the committee feel is appropriate, then obviously we will work with it. Condition 3, the no advertising, that is agreed. It's very much the intention, as I indicated to Hannah, that the window will be kept clean and clear, 75%, so that a clear view is maintained outside. Condition 4 deals with 6%. This equates with condition 10, I think, in relation to the proposed conditions from ourselves. We talk about 5.5% rather, which I suppose is very similar to the 6. We are comfortable in saying that we won't have anything above 5.5. And I think that if there are, and as it's been indicated, there are other premises in the area which will be selling alcohol of a higher strength. Generally, if you're looking at street drinking or looking at street drinkers, the purpose of this condition is to discourage them from going into the shop because they won't be interested in the particular items that you have for sale. And here we would be one of the lowest proportions should the license be granted. There's then reference to multi-packs of 4, of at least multi-packs of 4. And again, should the committee look to impose that, that's a condition I think that we would be able to agree and work with. There is no intention to have any delivery of alcohol to premises, so condition 6 can be agreed. Condition 7, in relation to the CCTV, there's a detailed condition which again is proposed by ourselves. What I would say is that in relation to the preferred accepted wording from the police, there is no difficulty in accepting that condition. You will note that under condition 7, there's issues in relation to if there's a breakdown of the system, then of course it has to be remedied as soon as practical, and obviously notice is given to the police immediately of the breakdown and obviously the steps that are be taken. The condition 8, at all times premises open to public, management will contract the backup services of an approved mobile support unit that operates at all times. The premises open to the public with a minimum of 2 SIA registered door supervisors. I think that it's difficult, I think, with relation to operations, to shop operations, and the costs that are involved in relation to this. But as I understand it, it's having a number of door supervisors who are on call so that they can attend the premises. And if my understanding of that is correct, then I think, again, it's one of those matters that the applicant would be familiar with, as he's part of the Brighton Crime Reduction Partnership. We then have condition 9, which is becoming a member of. He's already a member of and would continue to be so. There's the incident log. Again, I would prefer, although we've set out an incident log, and I think ours is more detailed, again, if it's preferred to go with the police version, then please do so. There's the Challenge 25 policy, which of course would be adopted with appropriate signage and training. All of those conditions would be and can be agreed. Additionally, to that, we have offered that a telephone number be available. We see the premises being a local convenience store, mainly used by people who live and work in the area. It's not a main through run. We don't see that people are going to come to the area in order to go to the shop, and we don't see that street drinkers will be using it. It's a local convenience store for the local resident. So the number will be available, and if there are issues or concerns, they can contact the owner directly. On our proposals, we set out at number 5, obviously, that we wouldn't sell to anyone who's intoxicated or reasonably believed to be a street drinker, which, again, if you're a local store, you will know who the local problem individuals are, and as they can be identified, it's clear that we can also prevent alcohol if they're looking to buy it at our shop, that they can prevent it from doing so. We're also looking to be proactive in relation to monitoring the area outside. As I've indicated, the window would be clear so that they can see outside, but having staff at the premises who are able to observe what's going on outside and make sure that if anyone's causing trouble, they can't come in and purchase alcohol. I think that that's also helpful and a responsible thing for an operator to be able to do. They would have a policy in relation to and make it very clear in relation to street drinkers. So again, street drinkers, if they know they can't get any alcohol there, they're not, if they're looking for somewhere, they won't be coming here because they know that they won't be able to get it. The condition which we've agreed in relation to multi-packs, slightly wider in relation to this, so that it would include no single cans or bottles of beer or cider or spirit mixtures under 550 ml. So in those circumstances, of course, they would have to be sold in multi-pack versions. We've dealt with the training, which is very important, and the record keeping in relation to that. Condition 14, which is proposed, is that the personal license holder would be on duty at the premises at all times that the premises is selling alcohol. And that I would propose as being a very positive thing that's being suggested. We then deal with other issues that sometimes arise in relation to off licenses, as to making sure that obviously the alcohol is purchased from an AWRS supplier, not purchasing it from anywhere else. And obviously, if people do try, then we report it obviously to trading standards. I think that there's a number of conditions there which I would commend to you. If you felt that it was appropriate, certainly certainly it can be offered that unannounced check can be carried out in relation to the operation to make sure that the license is being complied with. That is a condition that could be there. It would ensure or give or may give the committee some assurance that the that a license which has on it 20 plus conditions that they're being complied with. Any report that's completed can be made available or can be provided to the licensing, to the police. So again, they can be assured of compliance. So it's on that basis that we submit that in relation to this application, that there is an exception. We could find an exception to your matrix policy. He is a local businessman. He has operated in the centre of Brighton for a number of years. He also operates a local convenience store in Portslade, and you will have seen references that are put in the bundle of people who recognise the fact that he is a helpful businessman who is responsible and takes his responsibilities very seriously. I'm sure that there will be many questions, councillors, so it's probably best that I hand back to you as to whether there are any questions for me or Mr. Moaz. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll see Ivan's got his hand up first of all. Go ahead, Ivan, ask the question.
Thank you, Chair. This could be a really quick question. Thanks for the lengthy report. Is the applicant coming to the meeting?
I believe the applicant is here. Ayad, I think.
Hello. Yeah.
Do you have any questions for him, Councillor?
Yes. Yeah. So my question really to the well, there's a couple of questions, but I'll go straight to the heart of the matter. So as by your own report, there's 8 convenience stores within a very close proximity to the current application, with one only 43 feet away, I understand, and alcohol is sold very nearby. So why does the applicant think that his application constitutes an exception within the special stress area?
Yeah. Hello. I think adding another successful business as a convenience store, which is the local need, because it is local residential area, and based on my experience, what the local need every day, which is not just alcohol, which is selling many things that residential people or local people need it every day. So selling alcohol is just a part of this. For this business, it is convenience store. It is really busy residential area, which is they need more than shops, to cover this area. And I think that's what they need, the local customer, local people need every day from the local shop, apart from the alcohol.
Yeah. So could you open the store without selling alcohol?
We can, but selling alcohol, it is part of the convenience store. It is not like alcohol shop. It is of convenience store, But the customer, if he need to get something, he can buy something from here and the other thing from other shop. It is convenience, so they can have everything. Small part of the alcohol will be help for them.
Sure. So appreciate that that you've got plenty of experience. You've got a couple of other shops, but why do you believe that selling alcohol in this area where there's plenty of other establishments selling alcohol would?
Depends. Basically, my experience. I got another local shop, in Portslade, which is all my local customers, as I notice, as I see in my customer, what they're buying every day, they're buying all they need: the milk, bread, fresh sandwiches, fresh vegetable, and they can get some beers, as well. So everything is like all package, what the local customer they need, from the shop as a convenience store.
No,
I think
I
one of
appreciate
the,
that.
sorry, Councillor, I think one of the issues, certainly my experience dealing with convenience stores around the country, is that it's often used by a store maybe to bring customers in because they know that they can purchase it and then also buy their bread and groceries as well. As Mr. Sherry indicated, the sort of pasta and wine, the sort of evening meal and wine to go with it. I think that that's often how a convenience store survives. It's that ability to add on, I suppose. If you go for one thing because it's local, then you would also buy something to complement it.
No, I appreciate that. Okay. Another question. So the opening hours are currently, you're proposing 7 to 11, with selling alcohol from 8 to 11. Can you give further information as to how there will be screening for the first hour, or because there were obviously the shop opening at 7 and you're applying to sell alcohol from 8, so how will that work?
Yeah, even if from 9 o'clock is fine. As you know, as the other local businesses, they operate the same hours, selling alcohol from 7 or maybe earlier than that. But I'm happy with 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning will be fine.
Okay.
No.
I think
No,
generally,
no, that's fine. Sorry, that's fine. But my question is, how will you screen off the alcohol visibility?
So Councillor, as I understand it, the displays nowadays are able to, or come with screens, so that a screen will be pulled down so that you won't be able to see it. Obviously, there'll be spirits which are stored behind the counter, which would not be available to the public. And again, the wine, any shelves in relation to the wine, again, they can also have screens or shutters pulled down so that you can't see it for that, however long it is when the shop opens until it, should you grant a license, till they're able to do it. But it's part now of the displays that they can do.
Just one more small thing. Even the staff, they got a personal alcohol license. They have a training. I got training them as well, to make sure, don't sell alcohol out, of the premises hours selling alcohol.
Okay, so all your alcohol that you plan to sell will be behind the counter?
No, the spirit will be behind the counter. Everything inside the shop, and the red wine gonna be next to the counter inside the shop. So it's quite far, inside the shop.
So how will that be covered off between the hours of 7 and 8 in the morning?
We can put like a shutter, for the red wine, and even for the beer and the white wine in the fridge. We can shutter. We can close the fridge, for switch it off, for the customer. So that's clearly is not allowed, not ready to buy selling it.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. No further questions at this stage. Thank you.
John?
Thanks, Chair. Yes, I was sort of going to ask something along the lines about what is making the application exceptional, but I'll focus on a couple of the conditions which have been proposed. Could you talk through condition 18 to me, please? I'm struggling to sort of comprehend what that means. And finally, it's one Hannah touched on when we early on in the meeting regarding any alcohol sold would need to have labels affixed to it before it's purchased.
Okay, so condition 18 is to do with the spirits purchased in resealed boxes without thorough checks being made to ensure it's legal to sell. There have been concerns about illicit alcohol, and sometimes that may appear on the basis of what looks like a box that has been resealed, and that can be an indication that it's not legitimate. I think the issue here is just to make sure that all of the sales would be legitimate. In our particular case, everything will come from an AWRS supplier, registered supplier in any event. So that again should give reassurance that it's a legitimate purchase, legitimate item that can be purchased for sale. Condition 20 is sometimes in relation to stress areas, and I'm talking general here, not just in Brighton. There can be issues in relation to some operators may be more responsible than other operators. And some authorities have found it helpful that if the items are have a mark on them to indicate as to where they come from, and that can be on a price label with the address of the premises or the name of the premises, or sometimes even the premises license number is printed on the label. If that label is on the item, then it does enable some investigation to be carried out as to where individuals have acquired the particular item, which particular shop. It may identify particular problems, and by identifying those problems, of course, it becomes easier to address them. If no one knows, or everyone's saying, well, it's not come from me, or it's come from you don't, or it can be very difficult to get anywhere. And I think what we're looking to do in this particular part is to say, look, our market here is for the local community, and as part of that, we will indicate as to where this item has come from, because we are confident that should there be any bottles or cans left lying around, that they won't be coming from us. So it's very much, I suppose, an indication that we are taking our responsibilities very seriously, and we will be ensuring that these items won't be from our store. They may be from other stores. Hopefully, there won't be any. But that's the purpose of this particular condition. I heard what Hannah said about it. I can only say that there are many police forces across the country who actually find it very helpful and do use it in order to, as I say, identify problems and come up with solutions to address it.
Okay, well, thank you. Don't think I've got any further questions at this moment, Chair, but if I'll indicate if I think of something.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions. Actually, it's interesting what you just said about the labelling, because it's not something that I don't think any of us have come across before, and I don't know if Hannah's come across it in the wider sort of Sussex police area. But no, she's not shaking her head, she hasn't seen it, but it is quite an interesting idea. My question is again about the layout of the shop. One of the issues that we have, when it's all over the country now, is shoplifting. And, I mean, given the layout of the shop that we've seen, and, that there's something that came in the papers, it could be easy enough for somebody to sort of come in, sort of browse, and then grab a bottle of wine out of the fridge because it's whilst somebody else is being served at the counter. I mean, I would prefer to see all of the alcohol behind the counter, so that so that if someone has to say, I want that bottle of wine, please, or I want that, that can of beer, rather than having it on the shelves, because I think a lot of supermarkets do that now, the ones in the town centre or city centre rather, where they've got alcohol licenses. It's all behind the counter. So I just wondered what you felt about that as being a condition.
I think it's one of the conditions which is proposed, I think, by the police. I have asked the question of IAD, and it may be that IAD is able to respond directly We're not in the same location, Chair, as you probably would have gathered. So.
Yeah, it is. That's like what you said. Some of the shops. But I think, based on my experience, it is locally in the center of busy, too many young in shops in Brighton, for example. But this one is residential local area. So local customer, that means I'm going to see the customer regularly every day, many times. So they live around the corner or live next street, so they are local. So they're buying the alcohol and they know what they want. We know what they want because they are regular. We see them every day, many times, and they go to them house, so very close as it is local. So and as I said, with the experience and stuff I have, they having enough training how to deal with the customer, if they are local, if they are young, if they're good experience with this, how they can manage.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that I would prefer to see it all behind the counter, even the stuff in the fridge. I mean, where I live, there's a co-op, and again, it's a huge residential area, and there's a small row of shops up near where I live, and in the co-op there, they have everything behind the counter, including wine in wine and fizzy wine in the fridge. So, and I mean, I think
it could be we can do, but red wine and spirit is definitely behind the counter, and some. I think it's easy. We can manage this one. We can have them behind the counter. Even we can have the fridge behind the counter. I think we can deal with this. We can manage it easily.
Well, as you're still sort of in the process of bringing of fitting the shop out, it will be easy for you to do that.
I'm sorry.
I think, Councillor, he's accepting that it can be done, and obviously, should you grant the licence with that condition, then it will be done, of course.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to move on. Questions from I'll go with Hannah first. Have you got any questions, Hannah?
Yes, please. Robert, you went through the conditions, and the condition that you offered, number 7, I've sort of made a note, it's about moving people on. If you've got a single member of staff inside the premises, how will that be achieved, and what would happen if they have to leave the premises, and what happens if there gets a little bit of confrontation if you don't have a mobile support unit?
Is that for me?
I think in relation to this, I think it's expected that at busier times of the day, there will probably be 2 people who would be at the store. So that would be there would be the ability for somebody to monitor outside and to move somebody on. I know that Mr. Moas does have security at his other store in Brighton. I'm conscious of the significant costs that security can bring. I'm not familiar with regards to the system of having door supervisors on call and how effective that system is in Brighton, but certainly if that is a system that Mr. Ayad is able to engage with a number of other stores, then that would seem to be quite a good system. But I don't know whether the system envisaged is as sophisticated as that. And I think the issue here is going to be that if you've got door supervisors and you're having to pay for them all of the time, I just don't think that this would be a viable proposal.
Oh yeah, it's not having door staff on the door all the time. It is where you have SIA in a mobile unit that moves around in a car, and then linked in, they would have a radio that should they need to call them. So if you're proposing that your members of staff, which if if I'm correct, I'm sure it said on the report that you would have one in the morning and then one doing the afternoon and evening shift. So if you've got one doing that evening shift, and unfortunately, as much as you would like to draw in the clientele that you would like, unfortunately, that doesn't always happen, and that isn't always the case, and potentially you do get the clientele that you don't necessarily want, and it's just then how your lone member of staff would then deal with that and what backup they would have, or would it be a straight call into the police?
I know that IAD is a member of the Crime Reduction Partnership, and it may well be that through that there is a system of having security on call. As I say, I think it sounds like an ideal system, and I know that if that's possible, then they will set it up. They do have radios, I think, at the pop-in store. So again, as part of the Crime Reduction Partnership, they would be happy to join the radio scheme that is available across the city. So yes, if we can do it, we will. And obviously, if it's granted and that condition is imposed, we would have to make sure that that was in place before, obviously, we were able to sell alcohol.
Okay, and you may mention in your conditions, condition 4, you've put in the challenge 25, but you've not put in any note there around signage. Will the premises, if they are granted a license, display challenge 25 posters?
Of course, and forgive me, I see that challenge 25 as being almost part and parcel. If you've got it, then you'll have the signage up so that people know what's happening. Certainly signage will be up and staff will be trained in it. If it was felt appropriate to add the requirement to place signage up, then of course there'd be no difficulty with that. Signage will be placed on.
That's great. Unfortunately, when you sort of walk away from this, sometimes that's a bit of a loophole that we get left with, where people don't have that signage and then they don't know that it's expected of them.
My apologies. Totally my mistake. Please, yes, we can add it in that suitable signage will be prominently displayed.
Thank you. I've already raised the concerns I mentioned earlier about the labelling, so I won't sort of bring that up again. Ayad, I have a question for you. For somebody who has premises within Brighton and is a local business person, you know, and I do sort of a lot of visits to your store with regards to football. I've never seen you at that premises. So where do you work within these premises, and how often would you be at this premises?
I always cover, you know, especially in the rush hours, do always management, you know, rush hours, get stock for the shop, you know, always communicate with the staff. So I'm always available, you know. So in the shops, you know, sometimes, you know, if I have maybe I am available in my another shop as well, so I can cover everywhere with rush hours, always around.
So do you plan on putting shifts at this premises?
Of course, I will do have some shifts, yeah.
Okay. And as somebody again who's local, when you did the application, were you aware of the statement of licensing policy?
I'm sorry.
So when you put in this application as somebody who operates in Brighton, were you aware of the statement of licensing policy?
To be fair, I think to Ayad, I think he engaged a firm to deal with the application for him. It doesn't appear, I have to accept this because certainly there's no engagement with the authorities, and nor are an extensive set of conditions that I'm sure that you would have expected. None of those items are part of the application. It does appear that you know, more should have been done, I think, by the in the application to assist the authorities.
No, that's fine. I just thought I'd ask the question because as somebody who works in and around Brighton with 2 licensed premises, I'd just wondered if he actually was sort of aware of it. And then my last
question. I think he put it
question.
into someone else's hands, and they, yeah,
No,
I think they dropped the ball with it.
Fair enough. And my last question is just around condition 5, because I found it interesting that you've actually conditioned not to sell to Intox, but that it would actually be an offence to. So I'm just wondering why it was offered as a condition.
It goes slightly further than that. You're absolutely right. If it just stopped at intoxicated, then of course it wouldn't be necessary. It goes slightly further and goes on to any person reasonably get my teeth in, reasonably believed to be a street drinker. And I think that's the key part of it. The first part, yes, you could say, well, that's not necessary, it's a criminal offence, but it's the second part. And I think it's the issue here about actively making staff aware that such people are not welcome to come into the shop to purchase alcohol. And I think that's what it's looking to do.
Okay, thank you. As much as I'd love to say you can pick your clientele, unfortunately, I don't think that works. But no further questions from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Donna, is there anything you'd like to say? Ask.
No, sorry. Thank you, Chair.
That's okay, fine. How about Sarah? Do you have anything you'd like to ask?
No, thank you.
Okay, so I think, and if nobody else in the virtual room has got any sorry, James, you've got to, your camera was off, so yeah, that's why I said keep cameras on. But hey, what questions would you like to ask?
Two very quick ones. The first one is this to Mr. Moaz. Did you tell Mr. Sherry and Mr. Brunch that you did not have any issues with your other premises that you operated in Brighton?
Yes, there is no any issue. There's no any official record about me or anything. Nothing at all. We are always, working with the licensing and operating with the police, to make it safety for the public and running the shop smoothly.
But we know that that's not true. We know that the premises in West Street were visited and you were found to be in breach of the conditions of your license.
No, it is as she said, it's happened when her visit, the security guy, he got an issue. His wife was in hospital. He was speaking phone outside, and the other one was sick. So I think that's what happened. It's happened, but after that, it's just like a notice, for us, and it was, every day we do everything as a condition of our license. We have every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 security at the door.
But why didn't you tell Mr. Sherry or Mr. Brunch that? You told him that you didn't have any issues.
Training standard or the licensing, they always do a regular check for any premises. They coming regularly, which is normal check, for the product what we have, what we're selling, opening hours. So that's a regular check, and it is not like written notice, about this. So that's what happened.
But you were served a breach notice.
Sorry?
You were served a breach notice. Donna served you with a breach notice.
I don't remember this thing, but I don't think so. That was a written notice, about this, just like it was, it's a regular check from them in the shop. Yeah.
Perhaps Donna would like to just explain that.
Yes. So I'll just find my folder. Yes. So I definitely gave a breach to the premises. I'm just finding my email. Sorry. So yes, following my visit, I sent an email to Ewart, advising that this was a breach of the conditions and saying I would, and asking for them to reply and advising what actions they were going to be taking to rectify the problem.
Did you get a response? Sorry.
Yes, just saying that apologies, they weren't aware of the condition on the license, but they have now rectified this and appointed to security.
Okay,
I wasn't aware about the security drive.
Okay.
I wasn't aware that the security person in the car was on the phone to his wife. It was implied at the time of the visit that that's where he stays in the car, because I think he's also covering other premises in the street as well. Just over.
Okay.
Thank you. So when you just told us that you weren't served any notice, that wasn't true either. Is that right?
I think you have to allow something for language, lack of understanding of what you're saying. Donna has said that she sent him an email telling him what what the breach was and what he was doing wrong, if you like, and he responded to that. So I think we have to make allowances there.
All right.
Rebecca,
And then there was.
Sorry, Rebecca is.
No, it is difficult because technically cross-examination type isn't really appropriate in a panel situation. I was just interested, but I mean, yeah. So you obviously you didn't tell your solicitors about this notice for whatever reason. I don't know. But Donna said you didn't know about the condition. Was that, or it's just about the door person being in the car at the time? I didn't quite understand that actually, Donna. I don't know. Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. So at the time of our visit, there was no security, and when we asked if there was any security, that there should have been security, one of the staff members went out of and got somebody out of a car, and brought them back to the shop and said that was the security, but he was covering other, just overseeing other premises as well. In the street, they had some kind of collective. So I just wrote, because also the condition's very clear, and received a response back just saying that apologies, they weren't aware of the conditions, and they've now rectified and there will be 2 SIA at the premises.
Okay, so in your there's no further action. It's there's no fine he has to pay or doesn't have to appear before the court. He's done what you asked him to do.
Yes.
Okay. Ayad, would you like to come back on that?
Yeah, actually, that's happened. It was in the weekend, and we are all human. One of them, he came to the shop and he feels sick and he left, and the other one, his wife, it was in the hospital. He was spoken by her phone because it is quiet in the car. That's why he's speaking with his wife for a few minutes, and he came back to the shop. Always in the weekend, I got 2 member staff behind the counter, full experience how they treat a customer, and that's what happened. And from after that, the police and Ringston, they came and they checked the same. It was always 2 security at the door every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I am, as a business owner, I'm more than happy to the police and Ringston that make always regular visit to the shop, to make sure everything running smoothly, everything under control, everything that by law, for them and for us, to make everything, everybody happy and everything running smoothly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that you and Donna have made that issue clear, so I don't think we need to go into that anymore.
There was one other quick question, just to clarify that you have a lease which is conditional. In other words, it's conditional on the grant of a license. So if the license is refused,
this isn't appropriate for a licensing hearing. We're talking about licensing here, not lease, not the his lease or anything. So I don't think that's appropriate.
Well, I suppose he did raise it in his witness statement, so maybe I don't know.
I'm just concerned that we're stepping over into matters that we have no control over.
What was the question? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, potentially we are.
Yes, but just making the point that the applicant's not obliged to complete the lease if he doesn't get his license. That's all.
But that's not really relevant. I mean, I don't think that's relevant. I don't know if Rebecca. Well, I don't know what Rebecca said, but it's not really relevant. It's like asking whether you've got planning permission, which is not a matter we can discuss under licensing.
Well, I think he's put that in his statement, so that must be the case. I assume.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Right. Now, has everybody's asked their questions? I think we need to go on to summaries now. Does anybody need a few minutes to do the summing up, prepare summing up? Hannah, I'm referring to Hannah, Donna, Sarah, and James and Robert and Edward. Have you already prepared a summary? Cool.
I'm happy to do a very brief summary.
Okay, that's fine. Yes, well, that's the normal. That's what we give you the opportunity to do. Okay, and Robert and Edward, yeah.
I think it will just be me, Chair, but thank you.
Okay. So I'll first of all go over to Sarah as the presenter. Thank you.
Thank you. So as you've heard, this hearing's for a new premises licence for Islingworth Local, 80 Islingworth Road, Brighton, for alcohol sales off the premises every day, 8 AM to 11 PM, and opening times of 7 AM till 11 PM. You have heard from all the parties present and you have seen all the paperwork. Licensing guidance states that in determining the application with a view to promoting the licensing objectives in the overall interests of the local community, the licensing authority must give appropriate weight to the steps that are appropriate to promote the licensing objectives, the representations, including supporting information presented by all the parties, the guidance, and its own statement of licensing policy. The licensing authority must carry out its functions with a view to promoting the licensing objectives, and our policy is framed upon those objectives. Each application will be given individual consideration on its merits. Licensing authorities are best placed to determine what actions are appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives in their areas. All licensing determinations should be considered on a case-by-case basis. They should take into account any representations that have been received from responsible authorities or other persons, and representations made by the applicant or premises user. After considering all the relevant issues, the licensing authority may grant the application subject to conditions that have been proposed. If the panel decide to grant the application, then any conditions added to the licence to meet the licensing objectives should be clear, precise and enforceable. Alternatively, the licensing authority may refuse the application on the grounds that it is appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives and that the applicant hasn't proved exceptional circumstances to depart from our policy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I'll go to Donna now.
Thank you, Chair.
You're on mute, Donna.
Sorry. Thank you, Chair. The Licensing and Trading Standards team representation was made on the grounds of the life objectives of the prevention of crime and disorder and the prevention of public nuisance. Having regard to the Council statement licence policy, as the premises are situated within a special stress area and the application is contrary to the statement licence policy, we therefore felt it was necessary to bring this application before the panel to determine the final outcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hannah.
Thank you, Chair. Sussex Police do not believe the applicant has gone far enough to evidence why the application would be an exception to policy or why the matrix should be departed from. Therefore, Sussex Police invite the licensing authority to seriously consider refusing this application in light of police concerns and the local policy, which includes the risk of increased availability of alcohol, the increased crime statistics, including the open spaces and the number of other premises in this locality. However, should you be minded to grant this application, we do ask that you are mindful of the proposed conditions by us on Friday the 24th of April. Thank you.
Thank you very much. James?
Very quickly then, it's almost insulting for outside advocates to come in and tell you about your area. And if I come across in any way insulting, that's my fault and I'm terribly sorry. You know best what is good for your area and you know why your policy was instituted in the first place. And you may seek to consider when you have walked these various streets yourselves, what the actual position is. Ignore, if you will, selective statistics and look at what the police are urging you for these statistics for 0.35 of a mile, and they do not make for good reading. You are not going to in any way affect those numbers of offences which are currently taking place and take place on an increasing level. You're not going to make the position any better by granting this licence. And that's why we would urge you to listen to your officers, listen to the police, and take the course that they suggest, and that is a refusal of the licence.
Thank you. Robert?
Thank you, Chair. 8 points that I want to draw the committee's attention to. But before I get on to that, it's been suggested that the question is about us making it better, and I think that's the wrong test. I think the issue here is about us promoting the licensing objectives and not having a detrimental impact on the licensing objectives, and that's what I will address you on in relation to my summing up. As has been indicated, it's an application for a local convenience store for a local community. The intention is that it will sell a number of items, but in that number of items that people will be coming to the store for, it would also seek to sell some alcohol. In doing that, it obviously requires a license and hence this application. But it is very much a local shop in a residential area. Secondly, the applicant is a local man with a local family. Other than the one issue that we've been talking about and the circumstances that related to the security in 2024, he's run solid businesses and complied with all the requirements. You'll have seen in the bundle that we submitted yesterday some references from many of the local people, from a number of the local customers in Portslade, as to how highly they regard him and regard his operation. The intention here is to run something very, very similar, like a local shop for local people. He's got a proven track record. Much has been said by the objector about the breach. He's accepted that there has been one occasion when that has happened. He's explained why. I would submit to the committee that that in itself does not mean to say that he's not a good operator. I would say that the fact that the issue has been highlighted and he's addressed it and ensured that it's not happened again, I would say that is evidence of someone who is responsible, who is a good operator. In relation to positive proposals, they should have been made as part of the application at the start, and certainly that's what your policy encourages. Unfortunately, they were not, but they are made today. They have been made in relation to the conditions which have been proposed. We've also proposed some positive measures based on the police conditions and in the discussion which has taken place today. So in relation to those, I would say that there are positive steps. There are conditions that we have agreed to and have proposed in relation to mitigating the effects of any license that's granted and ensuring that there's no negative impact on the promotion of the licensing objectives. Sixthly, we talk about the area. This application, as I've indicated, is for a small local convenience store. It will not attract people into the area. If operated in accordance with the conditions, it will not cause or add to the any difficulties and problems in the area. Seventhly, we've talked about the hours. The request, obviously, at this stage is up to 11 p.m. If the committee feels that it would be appropriate and proportionate to reduce the hours, then we would ask that it be granted to 10 p.m. and 10:30 at the weekend. But finally, would refer you to the guidance, of course, and paragraph 1.18 of the guidance, which encourages and indicates to licensing authorities that when making licensing decisions, all licensing authorities should consider the need to promote growth and deliver economic benefit. You'll have seen from his statement as to the any additional employment that will be provided, as well as the service to the local community. And I would encourage you to grant the application on that basis, finding an exception to your policy as you're entitled to do, and grant the application. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Robert. And now finally, I'm going to go to Rebecca for any comments that she might have.
I think it's all been said. I don't think I've got anything to add unless you've got any questions of me at this stage.
No, anybody else? Was there any questions to Rebecca? Clarifications on?
And have you canvassed all conditions and measures that you may want to, if you were minded to grant?
Well, I think the thing I was concerned about was the layout. So I'm happy that I've asked that. Yeah. Ivan and John, is there anything else that you'd like to add about conditions?
All okay, thank you.
Okay.
No, not from me, thank you.
Right, cool. So now, at what, 12:39? Goodness me, we've been going for a while. I'll close the session down, and we will go into another virtual room, and just the three of us will be discussing our decision. Rebecca will be there to advise us if we have any legal comments, and Sean will be taking minutes. You will have a letter within 5 working days. We normally try to do that, as a maximum. So, no, thanks everybody for coming. Thanks for your time, and I'll see Rebecca, John, Ivan, and Sean in the other room. Thanks very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Bye. Bye.